Keep it hit. Yeah. Breathe. Good. Good job. Good job. Knee strikes. Knee strikes. Let's go. Switch over to position 4. Antonio 3.
Reminders of why this type of knowledge is so crucial, even if your kids never have to use it.
Okay, make good passes, have a good time, okay? Have some fun, okay?
About 40 Escondido Mission Middle School female students from the Boys and Girls Club at Greater San Diego's after-school program, Student Impact, are gaining the confidence to defend themselves.
White ball. 1, 2, 3.
We started out small with probably only had 37 kids. And then we blossomed out. We had a small budget of about $8,000 for our 35 kids. And then eventually we ran into a great group, North San Diego County Association of Realtors and Escondido Realtors professional group. They ended up donating some money and they said, what keeps you from getting more kids? And we said, well, it's money, it's cost. They said, well, you get the kids and we'll get the money. And fantastic, we blossomed out. Now we serve over 700 kids. We have basketball, we have safety academies, soccer, flag football. There's a lot of things that we're involved with in the community.
The PAL Safety Academy is a structured program. It's a self-defense and safety awareness program for children. And it basically consists of awareness and avoidance. We cover several topics over several weeks, including abduction avoidance, gang awareness avoidance, gun safety, fire safety, and we also go over 911 drills as well.
We realized a long time ago that the Police Athletic League is more than just the police department. It's a community coming together. So the Police Athletic League, we never turn a kid away for cost. If a kid can't afford to play, we pay for it. If a kid can't afford basketball shoes, the Police Athletic League pays for it. And we do that with all donated funds from the community.
We think that the youth that we have in our community are probably most vulnerable when they leave school and the time that mom and dad get home. And so if we can do something to keep them busy during that idle time, then we're not going to see them in the street, they're not going to be having contact with law enforcement, and then therefore the community's not having that burden, if you will, of them being out with idle hands and doing whatever they want to do. And we talk about weekends the same way. So if the parents are working and the kids have somewhere to go in soccer or basketball or martial arts, that it'll keep them off the street, keep them from getting influenced negatively by our other criminals. Gangs are very good about recruiting. And how do you eliminate a gang? You stop the recruiting. And one of those things is that these kids that are potentially at risk the most, if we can keep them busy, keep them interested in sports and teamwork and being good citizens, then they're not going to be tempted by the lure of what the gangs have to offer, which is that family piece they might be missing. So I absolutely do think it's going to be good for the community. I do think it's going to reduce our crime, and it's proven already to the kids that you're dealing with now, we're not seeing as adults, and that's the goal.
I constantly see people, or these young kids out in the field when I'm on service calls, and they'll come up to me and they'll talk to me about the program, and they're former graduates. And I had one child particularly the other day come out and greet me, and she was wearing her PAL medal, and she was excited to share that with me, and that was a fun moment. A big part of PAL is not only teaching safety and awareness, and one of the goals is for them not to encounter a dangerous situation, but also to build those relationships with these kids so later on they remember us, and we build that trust element with them as well. There's 3 components that really help determine what a child is going to develop into as an adult. That's going to be their home environment, the peers, and then what they do with their unconstructed time. And PAL is a big part of that constructed time that we provide for them.
A story in itself as well. George, remember when George was a young 14-year-old? He was a little bit of trouble, a little bit of drinker, a fighter. And I remember, I didn't know him at this time, but the officers had told me that, man, we had this big 14-year-old kid we almost had to hit with a baton. He was so big, he was so strong, he was wild. So we put him in our family intervention team, which is also a part of PAL as well. We fund some of the things that they do as well. So that's for our higher risk kids that are for gangs. So George is in this group. George was, he was already, his improvement already come, because he'd always want to fight before. When I got to him, he was actually doing fairly well. Said he wanted to play football and he wanted to do things. I said, right now, Pal doesn't have the football that you're talking about. You want contact football. So what I want from you is to go get your grades back up where they're supposed to be. And I want you to try out for your football team. And George took his grades up, started playing football, ended up being a captain of his football team. I remember going out to his game, and I remember the 108 degrees. I remember sitting out there watching George play. And then one thing I didn't expect from him was the wrestling. He really got into wrestling, and he just loved it, absolutely loved it. He actually liked wrestling more than he liked football. And not only went from lower grades, he went up to actually being a scholar athlete.
Well, right now I'm going to school at Palomar, and I'm currently in my 3rd year, and I'm going to wrestle. This is my last year at Palomar. Hopefully I can pick up a scholarship somewhere and wrestle somewhere else. And I want to major in criminology because I want to be a police officer one day and give back to the community the way other police officers have given back to us and to me personally. I just want other kids that were like in my situation to know that people are there for them, and I just want to make a difference in my community. And PAL just gives kids that can't afford something like that, it gives them that option to still be able to play, and it helps people feel together and as a family.
With Patty, we've had a very, very good relationship. One thing with her, I always believed in her, what she could do, what she could accomplish. And Patty had some troubles with the law as well. She came in and told me, you know, I made a big mistake. This is what I did. I got arrested. And then she told me what had happened. And she goes, if you never want anything to do with me again, I would understand it because everything you did for me. But that's where the mentorship really comes in. I told her relationships don't work like that. You made a mistake. Let's build on that mistake. And let's go on with what you want to do. Your goal is to be an attorney. So let's keep working on your goal and let's fix that mistake and not make that same mistake again.
I grew up in a family where my mom was very, she was always there, she was very caring, but my father was absent a lot. One of the things that we did was we started playing soccer, and of course we didn't have like the finances in order to play soccer, especially because there were so many of us. We were 5 kids, and all at once we're like, okay, we're gonna play soccer. So it was really tough for my mom. My mom wanted us to play soccer because it would like, you know, shift our energy somewhere else as opposed to like fighting in school, which I was doing a lot of during that time. So I said, I'm gonna make this happen. So I talked to my sister at the time, and she's like, well, you know, I actually know someone that might be able to sponsor the team if like we really wanted to do this. So I contacted Lieutenant Owens. He was a sergeant at the time, and he said that he would be willing to sponsor our team. And so like it gave us, you know, new motivation to like play soccer. We got super cool uniforms, and I remember the first time that we had our soccer game, we invited him and with our uniforms, and we displayed exactly who we were on the field, and one of our teammates got in a fight, and so he had to get in there and you know, put things back into order. You know, along the way you have your family that believes in you, and you have people that I think that know you, that believe in you, right? So with PAL, I got more than just that. It was a random stranger who believed in me, you know.
This is a letter I received, and I receive a lot of letters, and but this one really stuck out. I'm not sure how to start this because there's not enough words to express how lucky I am to have your guidance in my life. I know I said it before, but I'll say it again. You're like a father to me, and I hope that you realize that the greatest gift you have bestowed upon me is that you believed in me. Happy Father's Day from me and the 5,000 other children. Your support goes far. And that was one of my participants. That was Patty, but I get these notes from a lot of kids, and that makes all the time, the effort worth it. And if you volunteer, I have volunteers now, they're going to get the same thing. I have some of my real estate agents, Kim Cuccinella and Larry McKenzie, these people, they're going to get that same experience. And when you get that experience, I tell you, it'll go a long way. All those volunteer hours, all the sweat and the tears, everything else, you're going to say, that was worth it.
PAL is a great organization because it helps a lot of children that come from the most, sometimes the worst, you know, homes. Every child wants, you know, to play soccer, to play a sport, to play some sort of sport, but a lot of the times the parents don't have the financial means to get them there. And so I think any help that we can get to get these children into these teams would really be beneficial, because I know that I couldn't have done it without Pal. We couldn't have played soccer without Pal. And we went from fighting at school, fighting in the streets, to my brother becoming an engineer, my sister going to school for her PhD, and me becoming an attorney. So I couldn't have done it without Pal, and I just hope that people would be more inclined to help other children like myself.
The Police Athletic League deals with a lot of low-income and at-risk youths, although we're open to everybody. Not every single kid in the program is at risk or low income, but the good majority of them are. But we do have several kids who have been arrested before. Have you seen earlier in the video? They're doing great things. One's an attorney, one's in college. In fact, we have several in college. One ended up playing pro basketball in Europe. So we have success stories, and I say if we get one success story out of 100, we're a winner, because that's one kid who's going to be out in the community being positive, helping other kids, paying taxes, right? Doing these things to make our community better and safer.
The way that we have this funded through private donations has been huge for us. It gives the public the sense that they can actually make a difference, and they can, save a child, if you will, from getting into gangs. And by giving that donation, they're allowing this program to sustain. And it's odd to me that our federal government, even our state officials, haven't allocated money to PAL, and a program that I see absolutely has a proven track record. And so if one of these donors decides they're going to go in another direction, it jeopardizes this program. So I'm encouraging everybody to continue to donate, but find other people that want to give back to this community, to save these kids from being victimized on the street by the gangs, and to keep this program going for a long time.